Dear students, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to discuss about disk scheduling. Disk scheduling is a very important operation that needs to be performed by the operating system, and the scheduling should be done in such a way that there is a very fast access time, and also there is a larger disk bandwidth. The operating system is responsible for using hardware efficiently for the disk drives. This means having a fast access time and disk bandwidth. The access time has two major components. Access time has two major components. First one is the seek time. What is the seek time? It is the time taken for the disk arm. If you remember, we saw the diagram where we had the disk arm. It is the time taken for the disk arm to move the heads to the cylinder containing the desired sector. So we have the disk arm, and those arm contains the heads. It is the time taken for that heads to move to the particular cylinder where it contains the desired sector. Let us quickly look into the diagram that we have, and okay, see, you can see here, this is the arm assembly and this is the arm, and you can see the heads. So these heads, the what is the seek time? It is the time taken by the disk arm to move to the a particular cylinder. So this is the a cylinder, particular cylinder where desired sector is present. So that time is called as a seek time. And okay, seek time. And rotational latency is the additional time waiting for the disk to rotate the desired sector to the disk head. Now the seek time is the time where it takes for taking the arm to position the arm's head in such a way that it is in the desired cylinder where the sector is present. And then what is the rotational latency? This is the additional time where disk has to rotate to bring the desired sector under the head. So this is what additional time waiting for the disk to rotate the desired sector to the disk head, so that the disk head can read or write particular sector. What is the most important thing about the scheduling is we have to have a minimum seek time. The amount of time that it takes to rotate the arms, disk arms, to get into the desired sector cylinder, that time should be reduced. So minimize the seek time. And seek time, as we can understand, it is almost same as the seek distance. How much distance we are seeking, that is the seek time. Disk bandwidth is the total number of bytes transferred divided by the total time between the first request for service and the completion of the last transfer. So what is a disk bandwidth? It is the total number of bytes that is transferred divided by the time taken from the first request until the last data transfer. That ratio is called as a disk bandwidth. There are several algorithms that are available that can be used for the disk scheduling that will service the disk IO request. So we illustrate all those algorithms with the request queue. This is the request queue for the cylinders 98, cylinder 98, 183, 37, 122, 14, 124, 65, 67. So this is the request queue having a request for these cylinders, and currently the head is pointing to the cylinder 53. With this information, we look into different, we will try to understand the different algorithms. First one is the FCFS. FCFS is first come first serve. It is very similar to the FCFS that you have seen in case of a process scheduling. So here whatever the request that comes first into the queue, that will be serviced first. The queue has a 98 as the first request, 183, 37 and so on. Which is the first request we got? That is 98, and currently the head is at cylinder 53. So from 53 it will, because it is going to follow the first come first service, the first request is for 98, cylinder 98. The head will move from the cylinder 53 to 98. Okay. Then after that read write IO operation is complete, then next request is 183. From 98 it will move to the cylinder 183, and after 183 we have 37, so it will move to 37. Next cylinder in the queue is the request queue is 122, it will come to 122. After 122 it goes to 14. Okay, that is the 14, and from 14 it will go to 124, and from 124 it will go to 65, and from 65 the last request is 67. So how the scheduling is done in this case? Whichever request comes first, that will be served first. That is the FCFS. In this particular demonstration, the total head movement. So how many head movements we have? We have total 640 cylinders. So how the head movement is calculated? When it moves from 53 to 98, so head movement is 98 minus 53, plus from 98 it will move to 183, plus 183 minus 98, that is the movement. So we calculate for all these head movements the difference in the cylinder number, that all together it will come as a 640 cylinders. This SSTF, this is another algorithm. The FCFS is very simple to implement. As request comes in, we cater, but however this is not the most efficient. Okay, however it is easy to implement, but it is not very efficient. The next algorithm we are going to see is SSTF. What is SSTF? Is shortest seek time first. Means we have a cylinder request in our request queue, and we go by the seek time. Wherever is the shortest seek time, that particular request will be served first. Selects the request with the minimum seek time from the current head position. Whatever is the current head position, from there whatever is the minimum seek time to the next cylinder which are in the request, that particular request will be served first. And SSTF scheduling is a form of a SJF. So SJF scheduling, what is SJF scheduling? Shortest job first. If you remember the process scheduling, we used shortest job first, where we select a job for execution which has a smaller burst time. So whichever has a smaller first time, smaller burst time, that will be executed first. Similar to that, in case of a shortest seek time, whichever from the current position, whichever cylinder can be seeked in a fastest or the shortest time, that will be, those requests will be scheduled, or those requests will be scheduled first. So in this case, what happens? Similar to SJF, may cause starvation of some request. So some request, let us say they are far away from all other requests, So the seek time would be definitely higher for those kinds of request. There is a possibility that we keep on getting requests which are very closer to the current header position, and the one which has a farther header farther location, that will never be served. So the starvation can occur in this case also. So in case of SSTF, we have that particular illustration that shows a total head movement of 236 cylinders. In the earlier FCFS, how many head movements we had? 640 cylinders. Now you can see it has been reduced to 236 cylinders. Definitely SSTF seems to be better than the FCFS algorithm. So this is SSTF. You can see currently this is the same queue what we had, and currently the head start position is at 53, and from all these requests, which is the fastest seek time that we can have is, you can see 53 and next is 65. Okay, so 65 minus 53, how much we will get? 7 around 12. Okay, around 12 cylinders. So that is the very small seek time. So from 53, it is the seek time for 65 is relatively less compared to all other requests. So first 65 will be served, and as you can see from 65, which is the nearest, 67 is the nearest. So it will cater the 67. From 67, if you see here, the nearest I can see is one is 37 and another is 14. 14 seems to be farther than 37, so it will cater the next. After 67, it will take the request of 37. So 37 is that request is completed, and from 37, 14, this particular cylinder has a lesser seek time from cylinder number 37. After 14, so it will check among the rest of the requests that have not catered, which are not yet catered: 93, 183, 122, 124. Among those, from 14, 98 has the smallest seek time or the shortest seek time. From 14, it will serve the 98, and from 98 it will serve the 122, and from 122, 124 is the shortest seek time, and from there it will seek the 183 cylinder. So this is how the scheduling is done, and these requests are taken care. In this particular case, as we saw in the previous slide, the total head movements are around 236 to cater the same set of requests. Next one is the scan. So in this algorithm, the disk arm starts at one end of the disk and moves towards the other end, servicing request until it gets to the other end of the disk, where the head movement is reversed and servicing continues in the opposite direction. So how it is done in this case is, the disk will move towards one end, okay, and whatever the request we have, all those requests will be served, and it will go to the until the end of the disk, and once it reaches the end of the disk, it will start coming in the opposite direction. The head will start moving in the reverse direction, and when it is moving in the reverse direction, it will keep on whatever the requests are there, it will keep on serving those requests. Okay, now first we will see this is how it happens. This is the same queue. Head start starts at 53. Now it will move in one direction, right? From 53 it will move in one direction until it reaches the end of the disk. So disk is 0 to 199. Okay, that is the disk we have. Then we have 0 to 199 cylinders in the disk. This is the end of the disk or the beginning of the disk, and once it caters all these requests, it will start moving in the opposite direction until the end of the disk. Once that is finished, again it will come in the reverse direction, and so on. That is how this algorithm works. First, let us see, it starts from 53, and from 53 it will move in the left direction. On the left direction we come across 37 as the first request. That request will be served, and then 14, and after 14 we do not have anything, so it will go to 0, so it will reach the end. After end, it will start reversing the direction, and it will look for if there are any requests. There are no request. The next request is 65. Okay, it will serve the 65, then it will serve the 67, then it will serve 98, then it will serve 122, 124, 183, and it will go to the other end. If there are any other request, it will keep on repeating this. This is called as a scan algorithm. So the scan provides more uniform wait time than scan. Okay, next one is the C scan. Similar to the scan, in this case only variation, C is like a circular scan. In this case, the head will move from one end of the disk to the other end. When it reaches the other end, it will directly come to the beginning of the disk. It will not cater any request in between. That is how the C scan works. It provides a more uniform wait time than scan. The head moves from one end of the disk to the other, servicing requests as it goes. So when it is going from head is moving from one end to the other end, it will service all the requests. When it reaches the end, then immediately it will come to the returns the beginning of the disk. It will start from the beginning of the disk without servicing any request in the return trip. Okay, treats the cylinder as a circular list that wraps around from the last cylinder to the first one. So if you see this implementation, it is something like a circular. Once it reaches the end, again it will come to the beginning. So it is kind of a circular wrap. That is how C scan implements the scheduling. Okay, this is C scan. This is how we see it. Same, head starts at 53. From 53 it will go in one direction. Okay, and it will cater 65, 67, 98, 122, 124, then 183. It reaches the end of the disk. Then when it reaches the end of the disk, directly the head will move to the beginning of the disk. It will not cater any request in the return. Again it starts to move from the beginning to the end and requesting. So you can say again it will start moving in this direction. It serves the request 14 and 37. So that is how this algorithm works. It will move in one direction. Okay, it begins from the beginning to the end of the disk, catering all the request. Once it reaches the end, the head will directly come to the beginning. It will not cater any request in the return, and again it will start moving to the towards the end of the disk, catering all the request, and so on. It will keep on repeating this. Next one is a C-look. C-look is another version of C-scan. So in this particular ARM only goes as far as the last request in each direction. So in the earlier scans you saw, even though our request was the last request was 183, but the head kept on moving to the last disk. In case of a C look, whenever we find the last request, no further requests are there, then it will immediately come to the beginning. So C look, arm only goes as far as the last request in each direction, then reverses the direction immediately without first going all the way to the end of the disk. So we will see this happens on both the directions. So you can see here, similar to C scan, it will cater 65 67. Okay, it is moving in one direction, catering. When it comes to 183, so we do not have any request greater than 183. 183 is the last request. Then the head will directly move to the minimum request that we have. So it doesn't go to 0. Instead, what is the minimum request we have? 14. So it will move to the 14 and it will continue to the moving to the again the other direction, catering 37. It goes to the highest request and come back to the lowest request. So this algorithm will work like that. So you can see there is a additional reduction in the head movement. It doesn't move from 183 to 189. On this side, it doesn't move from 199 to 0. Instead, it will move from 183 to 14. That is how there is a saving of the seek time. The seek time has been reduced. Selecting a disk scheduling algorithm. How do we do the selection? SSTF. SSTF is what? Shortest seek time first. So whichever has shortest seek time, that is served first. SSTF is common and has a natural appeal. So whichever request has a smaller seek time, that is naturally it has a better way of handling, because we get the smaller seek times. But the disadvantage in SSTF is there might be some starvation. So that particular starvation has to be taken in some form. Then SSTF proves a better algorithm. C-scan perform better for system that places a heavy load on the disk. If there is a heavy load, means there is a lot of IOs request on the disk, then scan or C-scan will better do the performance. That will give a better performance compared to other ones. Performance again depends on number and types of requests. So in spite of all these algorithms, still the performance will purely depend on how many requests we have and what type of requests we have. So it depends on that. Irrespective of what kind of algorithm we have, definitely it has a dependency on number and type of the request. Requests for this service can be influenced by the file allocation method. So request for the disk service, it will be influenced by the file allocation method. What kind of a file allocation method is used? The disk scheduling algorithm should be written as a separate module of the operating system, allowing it to be replaced with a different algorithm if necessary. So what it says is the disk scheduling algorithm, when we write the operating system, when we do the design, operating systems design, this disk scheduling algorithm should be a separate module. We should keep it as a separate module and it should be plugged into the operating system architecture. In this way, what happens is, if there is a need to change the algorithm, we can change that particular model and it would be very easy to make changes to the different kinds of algorithm. If some for some reason a certain algorithm is not working, it is very easy to replace that particular module to have a different algorithm. Either SSTF or C-look is a reasonable choice for the default algorithm. So when we have a choice of algorithm, if we are planning to replace the if operating system is giving a option to choose among algorithms, there should be always a default algorithm. Okay, when user doesn't make any selection, there should be a default algorithm, and SSTF or the CLOOK, these two algorithms are the best for the default algorithm.